Thank you for joining us today on Millennial Talk, where we discuss issues affecting millennials and give recommendations on how to deal with them. My name is Bukumi Adejobi, and with me here is
Josephine Ario.
Hi, Josephine.
Hi.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about technology, and it's definitely not a new topic with us here, on Millennial Talk. And today we'll be discussing the role millennials have to play when it comes to participation in the stock market. So apart from the fourth industrial revolution and the disruption that's going to happen across jobs and the job market in relation to technology, we're also looking at the exit and the entry of millennials in the stock market. We've seen apps like Robinhood come up and create an easy way for millennials to invest in the stock market.
Yeah, and millennials are one of the first generations to be born in an evolution of technology, and to this effect, they kind of relate to technology different from the previous generation. And aside from that, they are known to participate in all things digital, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies, which is like the in thing these days.
Exactly,
and for that reason, there might be a lot of risk involved with all the new regulations coming in these days. And millennials are known to always participate online. We have social media, different forms of, and they also prefer to trade over an app compared to trading over the counter. So that's why today with us, we want to discuss how millennials can participate in the stock market, as Bukumi has mentioned earlier. And to discuss how millennials can participate in the stock market, we have Mr. Nsika John of NGX. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we are happy to have this conversation with you because there have been concerns about the let's say more dominance of older investors on the stock exchange. So we are looking to see for you to share your opinions or give recommendations on how millennials can take part. But first, before we move on to the stock exchange, let's look at technology as an entire sector in Nigeria. So across technology value chain, apart from coding, programming, what are those areas that you think that millennials can take advantage of to build careers in and make money from?
Thank you very much, and let me thank ProShare and Web TV for having me and the good work you guys do. Bringing all of this information to the public. Yeah, so opportunities in technology for young people, a lot. For instance, it is said that by about 2040, Africa would provide 1/3 of the global workforce, just because of the age of our population, right? While the rest of the world, people are growing older, Africa is focused on, a very young population demography. Nigeria, for instance, it is said that about 75% of us are 35 and below. So that's a lot of young people providing workforce for Africa and for the rest of the world. But I realized that these guys are not going to be productive or commercially viable. They won't create commercial value just because they're young. Yeah. They will create it because they are digitally savvy. They understand technology and those tools. So the opportunities for me are for these young people to learn, tools that make them digitally fluent, all right? Product management. They need to understand what's happening with fintech, UI, UX. They need to understand AI. They need to understand the blockchain and all of the opportunities in the fourth industrial revolution, so that they will not just be young, they will be young and productive. Yeah. And can create commercial value for Africa and for themselves in the days to come. So these are the opportunities. And if you see the convergence of technologies, all right, in this fourth industrial revolution, across big data, all right, DLT, everything that is happening with quantum computing, it's just the time for these, I'll call them digital natives, to take advantage of all these tools and improve themselves, and then get into these lines, all right, these technology jobs that are in high demand today, data scientists, and develop themselves to a point where they can create commercial value for themselves and, of course, for the continent.
Thank you very much.
Interesting. Yeah. What about cybersecurity? Do you think it will also be one of those things you think millennials should embrace?
Of course. Cybersecurity would always be an issue because as we get into the cyberspace, as transactions become more virtual, security also becomes an issue.
Yeah.
So of course, people would need to provide security as we connect on digital channels.
Yeah, because I think that's like the security measures that is one of the riskiest things when it comes to technology.
Yeah.
But aside from that, millennials are known to be like digitally sophisticated. So we'd like to know what NGX is doing to attract more millennials, or I mean, maybe there are a few, but to attract more millennials to the exchange.
Yeah, good question. A lot. Of course, we know what's happening, around the world and even locally. We know the demography of our population. We know young people are tech savvy. Of course, they are digital natives. And we always say that immigrants, right? Digital immigrants cannot create an economy for natives. Natives will create an economy for themselves. And so even within the NGX, we are doing those things to attract these young people into our market. For instance, we have a retail investor coverage department as a function, just focused on bringing these young people into the market. We've launched X Mobile, which is a mobile app, that gives these people a test of what happens in the market, just building that channel to bring these people into the market. And a couple of things, even the regulator, SEC, is also doing a lot. For instance, there's now a regulation for crowdfunding. There's a regulation for digital sub-broker, license. So all of these things and a lot of convergence of thoughts, engagement to just make sure that we bring this retail into our market because we have interesting asset classes. And so we are trying to optimize the channels because they like to consume on the go on digital channels. So we're also trying to optimize our channels and make sure that through our intermediaries, the brokerage community, they can come in, consume these products and services, through smart channels and we just continue to delight them and optimize the customer experience.
Right. What about financial market literacy? Because I know that that's like the huge gap between millennials and the stock market. Because I might like be interested in investing, but I probably wouldn't understand where do I start from. So, do you think that there are channels where they could start to learn about the stock market that would trigger their interest?
Of course. So recently, if you are following the NGX. Of course, a few days ago, somebody closed the market. The lady in piggy vest, Oduayo, closed the market for financial literacy.
Right.
That closing gong ceremony was focused on financial literacy. So financial literacy is something we are very big on. We have several programs promoting financial literacy. Of course, our retail investor function, the X Academy, has a lot of training programs. There was one held recently on retail investment.
And
understanding.
Do millennials attend? Like,
of course,
do they come?
that's the
I
target.
feel like the NGX is just in a cocoon,
Serious,
and they're just
very
and
serious
just in their own space. And maybe millennials don't know. I feel like maybe the NGX needs to do more. I don't know, marketing,
fun stuff.
And fun stuff. But I've seen the retail. I saw the comic book. I followed the comic book, but I don't know if there's a new. There's an updated version. I follow the comic and I know that the NGX does all these things. Which brings me to my own question. So the NGX, that's the Nigerian Stock Exchange, has reiterated the fact that they are going to leverage technology to bring in more millennials on the exchange. And I've seen the X Mobile actually. We've also seen the Technovation conference that was recently done. But what are those asset classes and let's say products on the exchange that millennials can easily have access to?
Good question. So we are now the NGX Limited. We are no more the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Of course, you know that we demutualized. Yes. So we are the NGX Limited. Now, what are the asset classes? The existing asset classes we have today, right, are attractive enough for the millennial and the young people. Of course, equities, ETFs, fixed income products. Yeah. The challenge I see is that sometimes, like you said, lack of education and lack of awareness. And that's why we are pushing education and awareness, X-Mobile Technovation Conference. And then sometimes before now, the access to the market was not optimized. But recently, a lot of work has gone into that space to also bring these young people into the market easily. All right, with optimized user experience, so that they can come in and consume this product. These products are smart enough. We have brands, all right, issuers who are listed in our market that also have a very strong appeal for young people. Some of the banks that are listed in our market. So with the work we are doing now, with of course other market intermediaries, because our business is B2B. all right, and we depend on intermediaries to get to the C side, all right. So we're doing a lot of work to optimize the channels, to bring them in and make the products very attractive for them with everything we are doing. And of course, I don't know if you know that a chief digital officer, recently resumed in the exchange, who is a veteran in the market. And so we want to be big on data, analytics, insights, and understanding how to engage our customers and delight them, especially the young ones like you.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I mean, just to emphasize a bit more on education for the stock or the financial market, we have a lot of millennials that have fallen in the past and even in the future falling into Ponzi schemes like MMM. There are so many of them I can't even remember. I think there was even one recently, I can't really remember the name. Rackstally, exactly. So what is the NGX doing in order to advise millennials on proper investment strategies? Because I believe that people want to make quick cash. But the truth is, they say the shortest cut is always the most dangerous. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we want quick cash, quite all right. But at the same time, how can they get adequate information for proper investment strategies? Might not be too quick, but at least you said on-the-go consumption. That's what we like, honestly. So, I mean, how can they access these investment strategies, easy access to those things? I think.
Yeah, good question. So number one, just download the X mobile app. Get on our channels on social media, get on our website, engage with market intermediaries. Most of the intermediaries have mobile apps too. Some even have USSD channels, all right, to come into the market. So get on this and then understand what we do, all right?
Right.
Get across the innovation hub. All right, I run the Solutions and Innovation Hub.
Okay.
Yes, in the exchange, and we are very big on partnerships and just engaging with young people and promoting the next unicorns, if I could say, and supporting them out of Nigeria and Africa. We even have an active accelerator, an incubator program, also supporting young people. And year in, year out, we speak to hundreds of fintech companies who are looking for advice, access to market, access to networks. So these channels are open and we are very happy to engage. Our X Academy is there. Look up their courses. And I think that, coming away from investing in Ponzi is about coming away from greed.
I think so. I think we've talked about that before.
And coming to, channels that are more regulated and transparent, which is what our market offers.
Yeah.
So, okay, looking at, you mentioned incubators, you mentioned unicorns, you mentioned sandboxes, basically. So one question we always ask at ProShare, because we have an analyst session every morning, is that why don't we have unicorns or large tech companies listed on the NGX? So like the Flutter Waves, the Paystack, the Piggyvest, and all of those things. Why are they not listed? Why don't we not see millennial-centric companies listed on the stock exchange?
Yeah, very interesting question. There's this challenge in our market, right? And it's the challenge of venture flight. Venture flight.
Okay,
venture flight, which is what you've just alluded to.
Yes.
Sometimes where these organizations, these ventures get their early funding from, all right, also determines their progression around exits. So what we see is that most of these ventures, even though they operate in Nigeria, all right, are incorporated in some other offshore locations, which is a bit of a challenge. And so this also influences, all right, the appetite of their early investors and early investments, and VCs, angel investors also influence where they exit. But of course, we are working very hard. That's why we are corporate venture capitalists at the NGX, all right, so that we can support these ventures early. And we have an active portfolio of companies we've invested in, right, in the market. And we're encouraging other corporates in Nigeria to also come into this space. Because, I mean, if you look at it, 90% of the investment that comes into the market comes from offshore. But we are mobilizing, engaging, to reverse this trend so that, number one, we can get to support these ventures early, and then we can also have a say in terms of their exit. Apart from that, we're also engaging deeply with the market participants, especially technology companies. The Technovation, conference was one of those channels where we are saying, hey, we have a smart enough platform. We have a big enough market to also attract you to exit and list in our market. And a lot of work is going on, around that.
Oh, Okay, so sir, do you have any like maybe advice or more insight into these issues that you feel like we've not asked you and you just want to share?
Well, I have a lot, right?
Okay,
I have a
sir.
lot.
You have the floor.
But I like to say, especially to young people, okay, you know, Nigeria and Africa is one of those places where venture opportunities are on the streets looking for founders, all right? Because we have a lot of challenges, all right?
But why don't we see the challenges? Because there's a brain drain currently happening. Everybody wants to travel abroad. Everybody wants to jackpot. So I don't know. Everybody, when I talk to, when we have conversations with founders, we have conversations with, let's say, big people. They always say their opportunities.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just feel. What do you think?
Honestly, I think there's a thin line between saying the opportunities and seeing those opportunities like to grab, basically. And if we look at currently disposable income, the hardship in the economy, the only people who have like savings can invest. We don't even know how to start to solve that problem. The first thing is, if you want to start to invest, you have to have money stock up somewhere, because you can't invest and not be able to survive. So there's a lot of issues around all of these things. And even when it comes to opportunities, there are still issues around it. So how do we solve all of these problems?
So the question I'll ask you is this. With people trying to jackpot, like you say, and leave the country, what makes, in Q3 alone, over $1 billion foreign VC funds investment came into this market.
Okay.
So while people are trying to go out, the foreign VCs are pushing their funds here. Why do you think that is so? The guys who are becoming unicorns in about 5 years, Flutterwave, all right, Kuda, Paystack and the likes, OP, do you think they're genetically endowed? They're not.
No,
If you understand what they understand and do what they do, you can see the opportunities and take advantage of it. You can replicate their results. And so within the, innovation hub and working with X Academy, that's why we have what we call the fintech foundation and fintech masterclass programs that teach you how to venture smartly and see these opportunities and then take advantage of them. If you create compelling solutions solving these problems we have, you also create compelling and enormous commercial value for yourselves. And that's better than running to
okay, in essence, knowledge is power.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for having this conversation with us. We were excited.
Yeah,
and
and
we've learned something, and our viewers also have learned something
as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you very much. My pleasure.
So for more information on the financial market, you can visit our website www.proshareng.com. Keep watching.